Chapter 22. Domestic Executive. 3 months after giving birth to Jennifer, I had emergency gallbladder surgery. Kim was 19 months old, and housekeeping was pretty low on my list of priorities. My sister-in-law, Jeannie, stayed with me, which was a big help, but I gave up on keeping the house clean. It was a chore with no end in sight, recognition, or appreciation. There was no financial gain, and no matter how hard I worked at it, the best I could hope for, if I could reach over my shoulder, was a pat on the back. The college quiz I took that stated my top career choice was to be a homemaker had some serious flaws. Some women love to clean house, like my mother-in-law, Pat. She was the most ambitious woman I'd ever known. She would stay up cleaning till 1 or 2 in the morning, sleep for 4 hours, and then go to work for the rest of the day. She was a dynamo, and although she lived next door, I never invited her over. My place was always an upside-down picture of chaos. Our modular home had an open floor plan, in which the living room doubled as our bedroom. We slept on a pull-out couch, which was always pulled out and nearly touched the kitchen table to the left of the front door. The sink and stove were about 6 feet away on the opposing wall. Everything was crowded in an area of about 200 square feet. The girls had 2 small rooms on one end. The bathroom and the laundry room were on the other. One afternoon, I came home and tripped over the end of the bed with groceries in one arm and Jennifer in the other. As was the general rule, the unmade bed was loaded with laundry. The kitchen table had leftover cereal bowls with spilled milk and crusty bibs laid over half-empty jars of baby food. The floor was covered in toys and pajamas. Dishes were piled high on the sink from the night before. I struggled to get inside as I crawled over the end of the bed and sat Jen on the clothes waiting to be folded. I found a spot on the sink for my groceries next to the pot of day-old spaghetti. As I surveyed the disaster, I released a sigh of despair. That's when I saw it, a handwritten note from my mother-in-law carefully stuck to my sticky stove. I envisioned her scooting between the bed and the table as she crept across the dirty floor, looking for any clean spot to leave a note that was so important it couldn't wait. "Jody," it read, "the church called and would like you to call them back. Nothing urgent."
Once we moved into a larger place, cleaning was easier but still a dreaded chore. I was working full-time, managing the family, involved in church, and taking care of our animals when I found the book Sidetracked Home Executives. It claimed to take the reader from pigpen to paradise, move from clutter and chaos to order. I bought it and devoured every word. I followed the instructions to the letter. The book gave detailed guidelines on what should be done on a daily, weekly, monthly, and yearly basis. Very organized and logical. It was exactly what I needed. I bought a file box that held 3x5 line cards and spent hours writing out what should be done over several days. Everything was color-coded and arranged behind corresponding tabs. Although it didn't mention it, I added cards for what type of cleaning solution was needed as well. Setting up this system was a lot of work. I wanted these cards to last forever, so I had them laminated at the office supply store. It was encouraging having my work laid out for me. I didn't have to think about what I needed to do. It was right there at my fingertips. I was proud of my achievement. So a month or so later, when Stan and Peggy flew in for a visit, I eagerly brought out my box of weekly chores. She was fascinated with the book and impressed how well it worked. I beamed as she commented on how clever I was to laminate each card. As I explained each one, I carefully returned them to their proper spot. When we were finished looking over my project, I smiled proudly and put the box back on the shelf. "So," Peggy asked, "how well has it worked for you?" Her question caught me off guard. It took me a moment to answer. "Well, I haven't actually used it yet," When the implication of my answer sank in, we burst into laughter. Obviously, I found it more enjoyable writing and preparing the cards than to follow through with the chores. It wasn't long before Russ let me hire a housekeeper, making life easier for all of us. I had one woman who cleaned our house for 20 years. I loved her. All I had to say was, "Do your magic." She needed no instructions, had her own supplies, and made the place sparkle. When she retired, I hired another lady. When I asked her what cleaning supplies she wanted me to buy, she said, "I'll just use the ones you use." "Huh!" I thought. If I had any cleaning supplies I used, I wouldn't need a housekeeper.